Welcome back to Vintage Noise, everyone. Today we are getting into a real American icon.
We are. We're looking at the Chevrolet Deluxe, specifically from 1941 all the way through 1952.
And that's such a crucial time frame because this car really bookended World War II, didn't it? It was the last big seller before the factory shut down.
And then it was the car that ushered in that whole optimistic post-war American style.
It's an amazing story. You're really looking at two completely different cars under the same name.
Oh, absolutely. You've got the pre-war design, which actually ran all the way through 48.
Right.
And then you had the complete revolution in 49 with the brand new styling that took it to the end of its run.
So let's start at the beginning. The pre-war stalwart, the 1941 Special Deluxe.
Exactly. The Series AH. This thing was the definition of mass market reliability.
Under the hood, we're talking about that famous Chevy six-cylinder.
The 216.5 cubic inch, so about 3.5 liters.
Which gave you, what, 90 horsepower? Pretty respectable for the time.
Very respectable. And simple.
Yeah.
These were engines anyone could work on.
And it was paired with that classic three-speed manual.
The three on the tree. The column shifter, that was American driving for decades.
And the production numbers are just... they're mind-boggling.
Aren't they? In 41, Chevrolet as a whole produced over 1 million cars.
1 million. And the Special Deluxe was more than half of that.
Yeah, 567,951 units. They were just flying off the assembly line.
And most of those were the standard town sedan, right?
Right. Yeah, nearly 230,000 of them. But then you look at something like the station wagon.
How many of those did they make?
Just over 2,000. It tells you exactly where their focus was, the family car.
And then it all just stopped. February 1st, 1942.
On a dime. Civilian production just ended. That generation of the Deluxe was the last new car anyone would see for years.
And for the people who already had one, driving became a completely different reality.
It was brutal. It wasn't just that you couldn't buy a new car, you couldn't get what you needed to run the one you had.
The biggest issue was rubber, wasn't it?
That was the killer. The war in the Pacific cut off something like 90 to 95% of the natural rubber supply almost overnight.
Which is why the government brought in the victory speed.
Exactly. 35 miles per hour. Nationwide.
Was that just a suggestion, or was it really enforced?
Oh, it was federal law. And people followed it because they had to. The thinking was, if you drove at 35 instead of 60, your tires could last twice as long.
And new tires were basically unobtainable.
Non-existent. So you baby them, you checked the pressure constantly, you took corners slowly. Those tires were like gold.
But even with good tires, you couldn't go very far because of gas rationing.
Right. Most people got the A sticker.
And the A sticker meant, what, 4 gallons a week?
4 gallons. Now think about that. Your typical 1939 Chevy got maybe 18 miles to the gallon.
So do the math. That's only about 72 miles of driving for the entire week.
The entire week. If your commute to the defense plant was, say, 7 miles each way, your whole week's ration was pretty much just for work.
A pleasure drive was completely out of the question.
Impossible. The car just became this tool of strict necessity again. All that freedom of the road was just gone.
And it's wild to think that after the war, they kept selling basically the same car until 49.
The demand was just that high. But then, 1949 happened, and it wasn't just a refresh, it was a revolution.
This was the first truly new post-war design.
And the biggest thing, the thing you saw from a block away, was the styling.
The integrated fenders.
Exactly. That old-fashioned, bulbous, separate fender look was finally gone. It was modern. It was sleek.
It was the future, and that meant reorganizing the whole lineup.
Right. They simplified it. You had the entry-level Special, and then you had the higher-end Deluxe.
But even within the Deluxe, you had a pretty big choice to make, style-wise.
You did. You could get the Style line, which was the new notchback sedan look.
The more traditional 3-box shape.
Right. Or you could get the Flea line, which was the fastback. That look was super popular before the war.
The whole streamliner thing.
Yeah, but that style was already fading fast. It looked cool, but you sacrificed trunk space and rear visibility.
So the Styline notchback quickly took over.
Became the dominant choice, for sure. They actually dropped the Fleet line entirely after 52.
Now, here's a detail I love. The new 49 models had a slightly shorter wheelbase than the pre-war cars.
It's a great detail, isn't it? Down from 116 inches to 115.
But the inside felt way bigger.
So much bigger. Because they got rid of the external running boards.
Oh, okay.
So they could push the whole passenger cabin out, making it wider. You could genuinely fit 3 people on the front bench and 3 in the back comfortably.
It's a true 6-passenger car.
Exactly. And for anyone looking to buy one of these today, the easiest way to tell the years apart is just to look at the grille.
Okay, let's play the grill game. 1949. What am I looking for?
1949 has 5 big vertical teeth right in the middle of the grille bar. And the parking lights are round, right there in the center section.
Then for 1950, they change it up.
Yep. In 1950, they took the teeth away, gave it a much cleaner, wider look.
Okay, a year later, 51.
For 51, the parking lights move. They go from the center bar down to the bottom corners of the grille opening.
A little refreshed.
Just enough to keep it looking new.
And then the final year, 1952, they kind of mashed it all together.
They did. The teeth came back for 52, and the parking lights got bigger and were integrated into those lower corners. It's a very distinctive final look.
So moving from the looks to the mechanics, the really big deal was convenience.
Oh yeah, the Power Glide.
The arrival of the automatic transmission in 1950.
This was a huge deal. It was the first automatic aimed squarely at the low-priced market. Chevrolet was democratizing the automatic transmission.
And it was a premium option. You couldn't get it on the base model.
No, it was only for the Deluxe and that brand new top-of-the-line Bel Air trim.
But getting the Power Glide meant you had to get a different engine, too.
Right, and this is a key point. The standard manual transmission cars still use the 216.5 cubic inch 6, now making about 92 horsepower.
So why did the automatic need a bigger engine?
Well, because that early Power Glide was a 2-speed unit that didn't really shift. It just stayed in high gear and relied almost entirely on the torque converter to get going.
Which means it was slipping a lot by design.
A ton. And that slippage just eats up power. So to compensate for the transmission's inefficiency, they needed more grunt from the engine itself.
Which is where the bigger engine comes in.
Exactly. The Power Glide cars required the larger 235 cubic inch Blue Flame 6. That gave you 105 horsepower just to make the car feel responsive enough off the line.
That explains the nickname, the Slip and Slide Power Glide.
It does. People said acceleration felt mushy from a stop.
So what was the workaround?
Drivers figured it out pretty quick. You put the selector in low to get moving and then manually shift it up into drive once you're at cruising speed.
So much for being fully automatic.
Well, yeah. But despite that, it was a massive success.
It cost a lot extra, didn't it?
$159. That was almost 10% of the car's total price. A big chunk of change.
But people wanted it.
They absolutely did. Chevy was so proud of it, they put a big Power Glide chrome badge right on the trunk lid. By the end of 52, they'd sold 1 million of them.
Wow. So moving inside the car, what made a deluxe and what were you paying extra for over the basic special model?
It was all about the trim and the little comforts. You got bright metal trim around the windshield and windows, which really made it look more upscale.
And the seats were better, right?
Much better. Foam rubber cushions instead of standard padding. A really noticeable upgrade in comfort for long drives.
And little things, like having 2 sun visors instead of just 1.
Exactly. Plus a nicer 2-spoke steering wheel. The options were pretty simple, too, like a vacuum tube radio.
And by the final year, you could even get tinted glass.
A very premium feature for 52.
And it's within this Deluxe family that we see a legendary name pop up for the first time.
The Bel Air.
Right. But it wasn't its own model at first.
No, not at all. In 1950, the Bel Air was introduced as the absolute top trim level within the Deluxe series. It was basically the Deluxe in a tuxedo.
So that meant a fancier interior.
Oh, yeah. Cord and leather grain vinyl trim. Nicer door panels. And maybe most importantly, full carpeting instead of the rubber mats in the standard Deluxe.
That set the stage for the rest of the 50s.
It really did.
Now, we know these cars were tough, but on the channel, we've worked on a 49 style line, and they're famous for rust.
They are absolute rust magnets. And it's because of how they were built. That box section frame, it's strong, but it traps moisture like you wouldn't believe.
The inner and outer sills are the worst spots.
Notorious. But also the trunk channels, the area around the rear fenders, it's a real headache for restorers.
And patching them isn't easy because the metal has all these compound curves.
Exactly right. A door patch isn't just a flat piece of metal. It has to curve in multiple directions to match the body lines. That's why a lot of restorers now just replace the whole panel if they can find one. It's often easier than trying to fabricate those complex patches.
Which speaks to how these cars were used. They were daily drivers. But to make one last, you had to baby it.
For sure. I think about that story of the 49 Deluxe with only 19,000 miles on it. The owner only drove it in perfect weather.
And that's why it survived. Most of them were driven through salt and snow and rain. They were workhorses.
They were, which makes finding an original clean one so special today.
And eventually, that workhorse's time came to an end.
Yep. 1952 was the last year for the Deluxe name. For 1953, Chevy brought in a whole new body and a new naming strategy.
The Deluxe was replaced by the 210 series.
And the Bel Air, which had been the top trim, graduated to become its own top-of-the-line model. The Deluxe had done its job, bridging that gap from pre-war to post-war America.
So when you look back, the legacy of the Deluxe is really one of resilience. It survived the war, rationing, and then completely reinvented itself for a new era.
It's an incredible story of adaptation, but there's a final twist to its legacy that I think is fascinating. Let's go back to that slip-and-slide power glide transmission.
The one everyone complained about being slushy and slow.
That exact one. Today, decades later, that two-speed power glide is one of the most popular and sought-after transmissions in all of modern drag racing.
No way! Why? Why would a transmission known for being inefficient be good for racing?
For two reasons. First, it's incredibly simple and unbelievably strong. You can throw massive horsepower at it, and it just takes the abuse.
Okay.
But more importantly, because it only has one gear change. On a quarter-mile run, you launch, and you make one single smooth shift.
Yeah.
Fewer shifts mean fewer points of potential failure under extreme load.
So its greatest weakness in a family car became its greatest strength on the drag strip.
Exactly. A legacy of simple, bulletproof engineering that found a new life its designers could never have imagined.
An amazing final chapter for a true American classic. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us here on Vintage Noise. We'll see you next time.